All right, so slowed down a little bit, of course, with Christmas and little kids and the holidays and all the joyous things. But about a month ago, or maybe 5 or 6 weeks ago, I was brought a used GoMini by a new friend that lives about 15 miles north of me. He had bought used, and he's just starting out in this awesome hobby and has a lot of interest in it. But this thing was busted up pretty bad, so I'm no expert at these things, but I've been doing fairly okay with it for a couple of years now. So originally we thought the tail was just going to need some relamination and fix the horn that was coming out of it. But as you can see, it was toast, it turns out, and the horizontal wasn't any good either. So I thought that Greg really needed something pretty solid to start his journey with this stuff on, and the GoMini is a really good choice, of course. As in, it's very, very similar to the new Deviant, and probably the best 1 meter on the planet still, I would say. But this one just needed some rehab, so I offered to keep it and tinker with it here for a little bit, and I've kind of been off and on with it with everything going on, but it's turned out nice as far as the fix goes. The person who bought it new and flew it and crashed it. No offense to whoever he is, but he was a ding dong because he did not build this thing right from the beginning. Honestly, it's still got a few flaws in it, but I think I've corrected it enough to get it flying nicely now. Needless to say, I made a whole new tail for it there. That's my own orange tail. I used the template, the same exact tails. Mine came out about 1.5 grams heavier than the factory GoMini tails, but mine are a lot stronger, honestly. As we all know, that vertical is the first thing that can break, especially with a beginner and some hard landings. I put a really decent spar in that, and I went heavy on the layup on purpose. It's pretty darn solid. Most of that 2 gram is in extra is in the new vertical there. So those came out good. So brand new tails. I wasn't able to wrangle having the horizontal removable. Unfortunately, the screws just didn't line up right. It's hard to do, and it's lots more solid just to glue it on. So I put some little pieces of carbon rod through and glued it on very solidly. I don't think being top mounted that Greg's going to be able to break that thing. If he does, you know what? We'll tear it off and I'll make a new one. No big deal. The wing was in pretty good shape. A little bit of problem at the root with um, the integrated hinges. They're either, I think they're probably peel ply, but they've been torn loose, and we still got a little double centering problem right now because of that. I can't really correct that too much. I did add a whole strip of the super scotch tape along the bottom just to re-up the hinge here. It made everything kind of stiffer again. And a little more solid. I had to add a little bit of tape here and there on a couple of little dents and dings, but that Scotch tape works so well for that. The biggest problem was the old owner had crashed it pretty badly and literally broken the nose off the airplane. Um, it's a little hard to tell now. It used to have a green nose on it. It was pretty ugly. In looking at it really closely, it turns out to repair it, he put a little bit of epoxy in there, but mostly it was Bondo, which has zero structural quality, just about. I can't imagine he flew it again before he sold it to Greg. And it looked flyable enough, but really looking at it close, that thing would have lasted 3 or 4 launches, and the nose probably would have come right off again, or one doink into the ground, and it would have been toast. So I'm actually glad I got it. What I did to repair it, and by the way, the whole repair and the new tail and everything added like 9 grams to the airframe, which for this plane's no big deal. So to repair it, this used to be an integrated, another integrated servo mount there. I had to cut that out to get to it, and I put fiberglass on the inside, pretty heavyweight fiberglass actually, and then some fiberglass on the outside as well, which you can see obviously. but it's about as smooth as I could make it. But then, of course, I'm picking it up by the nose now. It's probably more solid than it was factory. A little bit heavier, obviously, but kind of offsets my heavier tails. So not that big a deal. Also, it had these ES 905-1s, which, 4 or 5 years, 6 years ago when this plane was introduced were decent, but compared to the X06s I had laying around extra, they're pieces of crap. So Greg's retiring soon, and I thought as a Christmas/retirement present, I would donate my extra X06s to the cause, and they are perfectly matched to this plane. So, of course, I had to make new push rods for it, which I had the material for anyway. No big deal. I restrung it with Beadalon. What was in there was crapola as well. It was like frayed metal wire with no coating. So that's 49 strand Beadalon, which is the stuff. He already had an AR410 that came with it. My battery packs are close to Greg's. His are just a little bit heavier, so I added a couple grams and balanced it. The thing balanced with no nose weight. It is 169 grams ready to go, right on the nose of where Armsoar recommends the CG at 68 millimeters. 0 nose weight needed, which I'm always super proud of, obviously. That's about 9 grams heavier than it was brought to me, but you know what? The plane is a lot more solid now, and as big as that wing is, from what I've read, guys balance these things in the deviants up to 170, 180 grams and fly them that way all the time. So I think this thing's going to be excellent for Greg to start on. He's got an ELF he's playing around with now, I believe, but this is the real deal. So I've got it programmed up as per my usual deal. Aileron throws, I did everything pretty much as prescribed. 12 millimeters up and down, 30 millimeters of down travel for landing flaps. We've got speed, thermal, cruise, a launch mode with a little bit of elevator preset, and of course we've got rudder and elevator as prescribed. I left the snap flaps off because Greg's starting out. That's something to play with once you get kind of the feel for these things. So we're not going to do that. We're going to keep it simple. Of course, I programmed it on my transmitter, but we're going to transfer that to Greg's Spectrum transmitter when he comes back and rebalance just to be sure with his own battery. But yeah, this thing is it's turned out nice. The nose cone was even busted, but I made a new piece of shrink to tape over it there. So that's what I've been doing recently, trying to finish it up as per day. And then I really need to finish my Falcon, which is mid-build, taken apart right now, but I'm actually only a week or two away from finishing this guy, which I'm super excited about. But the GoMini, we're ready to be maidened soon when we get some decent weather, warms up a little bit. We're shooting maybe for next weekend. I'm probably going to fly it to begin with, and then we'll get Greg throwing it and flying it himself. But anyway, it was a fun project. I really enjoy this stuff, and it was pretty cool to see a pretty busted up airplane come back together decently. So awesome.